Hey guys, welcome to the first part of my three-part series where I'll be teaching you how to make an animation like this. So for this first part, I'll just be focusing on how the trees were made and animated. In my second tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to animate the grass and get a good grass look going. And in the third part, I'll be showing you how to throw it all together in Premiere or any other video editing software. It doesn't really matter. So for the first part, I've just set up this very simple scene so that I can show you how to make the trees. So making the trees is actually very simple. You just want to go to add primitive, add a cone, take the vertices, put them down to 4, and now you've got your basic tree shape. If you want to go into edit mode, you'll see that we can now play around with the vertices and such. Go ahead and select the bottom and just pull it down. Now we have a good tree shape. And then we're going to press E to kind of extrude it out, S to scale it, get it pretty small there, and then if we just press E to extrude again, we can take the trunk of the tree and pull it down. So right now, we already have a pretty good tree right here. It's not too bad. Nothing special about it though. What we're going to need to do next is add textures. So we can actually do a few things to make the trees look different from each other. We can either achieve this through size and rotation, just like that. So now it looks like we have two different trees, or we can actually add more detail to the trees to make them look different. You can do that very simply by pressing Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and just bringing the tree up a little bit. Now you can see that we have two different sections of the tree, and also they're two different objects. You can fix that really quickly by just pressing or selecting both of them with a shift right click and then pressing Ctrl J, and now we have one singular object. And then we can actually come into object mode, and if we just select the bottom here like this and we scale it out a little bit, not that much, that looks a bit better. You can see that the tree looks a little bit less top heavy, and of course we could come in to this one as well. Ooh, keep selecting that face on accident. Just by selecting these few faces and making them a bit smaller, now the tree looks a little bit less top heavy. Of course you don't have to do that, that's not essential to doing anything, so we're just going to come back and grab this tree for a second and put some textures on it. Oh, I don't want to do that. Oh, that's a big tree. There we go. To add a texture to this, you just want to go over from your object and select materials, and you'll press new to add a new material. This doesn't actually do anything for us. We need to select a color for it, so we can make our tree any color we want, and we can change the roughness of it, but that doesn't really do a lot for us. That's not really what we want to do right now. Select this so we can see what material we're working with. Additionally, we don't want the whole tree to be one color. So if we actually create a new material, and let's just say this is the bark, so we'll choose some sort of brown color. Go into here, and we select all the faces that we want the bark to be applied to, and we just press assign, and that'll give us our bark color. But this color doesn't actually look that good, and I don't want to use it. So if we go down here and we drag a new window open and we go to node editor, we can start to play around with the textures. So in order to get that nice orange gradient I used with my trees, you'll actually need to use the node editor, and you can simply drag a new window open and select node editor, or you can open the node editor in this node, doesn't really matter, but we'll keep that in 3D view for now. And you can see that we have nothing over here right now. So we're going to be using something called a texture coordinate and the mapping node in order to achieve our little gradient. So if we grab a mapping node and leave it alone for now, and add the texture coordinate, and drag generated over to vector, as well as we're going to want a separate node, XYZ, and we'll drag the vector into here. And then we'll also grab a color ramp right here, drag the Z into the factor, and then from color, take a principal BSDF node and drag color to there. And then we need to just output it to the material at this point. So we'll grab a material output. And then you can see we've applied a gradient to the tree. Oh, if you don't know how I'm searching for the nodes as well, it's Shift A. So from here, we have a nice gradient applied. And at this point, you can select any two colors you really want to. I like using pastel colors, so I'll select a orange here, maybe a more saturated orange over here, more red color. That looks good to me. And if we go into our 3D view, close that out, object mode, scale it down, we can see that we have a nice little gradient on our tree. So now that we have a very simple tree, we're just going to use bones to animate it, which is actually very simple. So we're going to press Shift A, go into armature and single bone, and that creates a little bone for us. Go into here and press X-ray on it. That way we can just see where the bone is, and then go into edit mode, and we're just going to extrude out about 3 bones, something like that. And they don't really like to go in the correct position, so we'll just drag them in to the correct position. Once you've got your bone system set up, ooh, that does not look right at all. Fidget around with it a little bit, hopefully get it in the right position. Doesn't really matter too much where the bones are. If you were doing character animation, it might matter just a tad bit more. But for us, this is going to be just fine. So if you go from edit mode to poise mode, first if we want to select the tree, then the bones, and then press Control P, and then set parent with automatic weights. Go back into poise mode, we can actually see that the bones will bend the tree, but the tree is not very flexible. Go into object mode, edit, I can see that this is all one face. A quick but not the best way to remedy this is by pressing K, and that'll bring up the knife tool, and you can simply go around and cut out the different sections of the tree, and that will allow the tree to move much better, like so. And I'm just going to go around and make all of those cuts. Only one more to go. Right about here. And like I said, there's better ways to do this, but this is the quickest and dirtiest way to do it, just like that. And now if we go back into object mode, select our bones, poise mode, we can see that the tree will actually bend a lot better with the bones. So now that we have our bone system set up, we can actually start to animate it. I'm going to change my timeline to a dope sheet, and then we're going to go into this tab and press I on these values to keyframe them. Once we're done with that, we can go to frame 120, bend the tree a little bit, press I again, and then we'll go to 250, and we just want to set this to 1, set this to 0, 0, and 0, and we'll press I again. And we can see we have a very simple animation. If we go into our 3D view, change this back to timeline, and quickly play the animation, out of poise mode of course, we can actually see that the tree sways ever so slightly, like it's bending in the wind. I hope you guys have enjoyed this small tutorial on basic tree animation. Thanks for watching.